An economist has urged the government to increase the allocation for Sarawak and Sabah under the revised Budget 2023 in order to narrow the development gap in Malaysia.
Development in Sabah and Sarawak has become a hot issue in the country now. The imbalance of development in Sabah has raised many concerns among local residents and leaders. The development gap between Sabah, Sarawak and Peninsular Malaysia has continued to be discussed by members of parliament. Datuk Rosman Isli said, the gap between Sabah and Sarawak and the Peninsula is very large, even though the two states have natural resources such as oil and gas.
Issue of development imbalance in Sabah and Sarawak has long been faced by the people of this state. The infrastructure in these two states, which can be said underdeveloped and receive attention from the parliament. The infrastructure in this state has many deficiencies in terms of polluted roads, lack of electricity, clean water sources and communication networks that prevent the economy from progressing.
As a result of the imbalance of development in Sabah and Sarawak, the people have to live a life of deprivation. The impact of the lack of infrastructure and the economy causes an increase in the poverty rate in Sabah and Sarawak. Residents cannot buy the basic necessities of life such as food, clothing and a comfortable place to live. People in Sabah and Sarawak also have to go through various challenges such as the difficulty of moving from one place to another.
The responsible parties such as the federal government and the state government need to address the issue of development and economic imbalance. They need to provide sufficient budget allocation for the development of the state in the Sabah and Sarawak. The government cannot provide the same amount of funds as the state in the peninsula, since the area in Sabah and Sarawak is larger than the area in the peninsula. Next, the government needs to organize a strategy to improve the balance by attracting quality investment, improving the business ecosystem, speeding up the provision of infrastructure and services, and diversity, and stimulating economic activities.
To align with Malaysian desire for change, the government should take steps to adapt Malaysian federalism to meet the needs of a diverse community. Sustaining multiculturalism requires both overlapping associational support for variety and sufficient social cohesion to balance the political tension caused by cultural complexity. Federalism and democracy must be properly incorporated into the constitution. The term democracy and federalism can no longer be used to hide the reality.
Next, the negotiation between federal government and state government for traditional Borneo demands for development growth. The government provided 300 million ringgit for settlement started year 2023 and negotiations still continue by the 1963 Malaysia Agreement. The federal government already taken steps for implementation for the development projects. And for conclusion is, there is still considerable to the several disparities in living standards, job opportunities and basic infrastructure between these states and the peninsula show the critical need for synchronized federal and state government action. The responsible parties must to take part of strategic planning, allocate enough money and work together to prioritize the development of infrastructure in Sabah and Sarawak. The government of Malaysia can encourage development growth, reduce poverty and improve the standard of living for all Sabah, Sarawak and national citizens by providing fair and equitable development for the country.